What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Press the button, KG.
All right.
And I tell you what, KG the comedian has turned a new leaf this morning. He was on time. He had everything prepared. He was ready. He's got his own thing set up for later on as well, which you can just go straight to there after the show. It's the frostiness is over, apparently. Do you know what? It came at a good time. All of this takeover madness came at a good time because it made our little squabble feel quite insignificant, didn't it?
It felt like, there's bigger things to, there's bigger things to look at in life, and, we got to turn over a new leaf. And, Man United, we've been done. We've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled. I don't know if there's any more other great words to be like deception, malevolence. They've gone to, we've been done over. But anyway, we're here. So I thought, you know what, life's too short to be mad at Owen for telling the whole world I lost 7-0.
Yeah, and shepherd's pie is back on the table.
Well, still talking about that. You said you don't like shepherd's pie, so
no, I don't.
Just going for a cottage pie instead.
I just don't really. I'm going to be honest, KG. I don't really like pies that much.
Damn it.
So, you know what I mean?
What about a patty though? Do you like a Jamaican patty?
I can't ever say that I've had one. KG, this is like a really shouted, you know.
Oh my God! What?
Remember we went to had that party over the summer, like end of year thing, and Flex was like, babying me. He got me a plate, and he put, "This is what this is. This is what." At one point, he was kind of up like this, going. I thought he was going to start going like this.
All right, no, but we got to be serious because when we start like this, people get really angry and they're like, "Talk about the news. What's going on with the club? It's your fault."
Yes, it is. It is all of our fault. Nevertheless, there's plenty to get into regarding the Ineos takeover. Well, partial acquisition of Manchester United. To be honest, Carbe's been very vocal on social media over the last couple of days as well. And today what we can bring you is some news coming from the Daily Mail talking about maybe Erik ten Hag's reaction to all of this. We've heard quite a lot about Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos's immediate plans. If you're not aware, obviously they're looking to vote on this on Thursday, KG.
Thursday.
Thursday about the 25% acquisition of Ineos of Manchester United, the overhaul of the sporting matters at the club. Of course, one of the big caveats to this deal is that Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to have complete sporting control over the club. What that would look like, we still don't know. But we are starting to see now is what changes he would want to be implemented fairly quickly. And this morning is quite interesting, actually, KG, because we can see sort of Erik ten Hag's reaction to all of this. And I suppose, unsurprisingly, he's welcoming an end to all of the drama, takeover sort of drama, or the takeover cloud that's hanging over him. But how happy he really is, we'll have to wait and see. Nevertheless, they're saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's plans to a complete overhaul, a radical overhaul of Manchester United's football department, and it's set to be welcomed by Erik ten Hag as part of his desire to raise standards at the club. Manchester United sources have told that Ten Hag has shown signs of frustration at the club's recruitment, with a lack of clarity over targets and budgets, limited data, and a habit of overpaying for players being particular concerns for many at the club. Ten Hag is likely to be enthusiastic about Sir Jim Ratcliffe's proposed investment in Manchester United due to Ineos's track record in raising standards in football, cycling, and sailing. He's also this is a legit thing, it says, isn't it? He's also a cycling fan. Okay. Fan of cycling.
It's rubbish.
Well, Ten Hag has been backed at Manchester United. Others at the club have misgivings about how business is conducted. United's transfer budgets for the last 2 summers have not been clear from the outset, leading to confusion about which players to target. While there has been no contact in recent months, it is understood that Ten Hag and Ratcliffe have a pre-existing relationship due to the latter's ownership of Nice, which I didn't understand that. When I was reading that this morning, I went, so because he owns Nice, he knows Ten Hag. Explain to me how. how that one works. Nevertheless, they did bump into each other at Carrington in March. Of course, they have actually met, albeit very briefly. KG. So first of all, Ten Hag's safe. You know, he's not going to. It's not like a. You know, someone's going to come in, overhaul sporting matters at the club. So Ten Hag's going to go. Ten Hag's safe. And they say he was going to be safe regardless of who won this race. Sheikh Jassim wanted to keep him. Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to keep him. Even the Glazers, they want to keep him too. So it's never a case of Ten Hag going or anything like that. But when you see this stuff, you know, like we saw yesterday about, oh, they're going to make changes to, you know, we're going to bring in Paul Mitchell. They're going to bring in, I think, a former chief executive of PSG, general manager of Juventus. I forget his name. He's a French guy. He's going to be brought in. Murto's probably going to go. Richard Arnold's probably going to go. They're going to bring in, you know, overhaul the scouting department. You know, they're looking at how to redevelop the stadium, 90,000, all that kind of stuff. Is that something to be welcomed and excited about, or is it something to be cautious about because you go, let's not distract from the real issue at play here, which is that the Glazers are still around? Or is it a case of, look, you've got to grit your teeth and get on with it because this is happening?
Look, man, I think we have to have some cautious optimism. That's the best way to look at this thing. It's like, show me what you can do. At the moment, he's come in, he said, I want to do, like, he's hit us with the manifesto about returning Manchester back to turning Man United back to Manchester, which was just fluff, really. There was nothing to take from that. There was no real understanding of, okay, so what does that mean? And finally, we're hearing you want to do this. It's the footballing matters. That's where Man United are at their worst. Man United are at their worst regarding football matters. Now, I would love a state-of-the-art stadium, but to be honest, I want to perform better on the pitch, you know. But I just don't know if it can be trust or if this is another one like it's a Kylie Minogue spinning around banger. Because like when you really deep it, Man United do this. This is the journey that we go through as Man United fans. So I feel like we just have to wait and then allow. It's the action. If he gets, let's say he, as soon as he gets appointed and we start seeing Paul Mitchell pulls up, because that will be a good director of football. We've been asking for one of those since the Ollie era. You know, we said, even probably before that. So that would be a key. If we can bring in a director of football, I'll know we're on the right track. Then after you're talking about football people, so I do like the thing of the guy from Juve stepping in. That's a good move. Because now when the footballing conversations are happening, the club are not going to get mugged off purely because they don't know what's going on. These are all business guys that are going to Barcelona for paella and conversations that mean nothing. You come home with nothing but a keyring and you had some sangria. That's not what we want. We want you to go over there, bring back a player. And every time they've like traveled, we've never seen them, you know, go and do something amazing. You only hear last minute deals. Casemiro wants to come. Well, was you hunting Casemiro? Was you trying to bring in Casemiro? Or did it's like cold calling and someone said, yeah, I'll have that. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with Man United. When is the targeted effort? It's not even done properly. We spent most of our money on Anthony. I'll just quickly finish this one. We spent most of our money on Anthony, and we didn't even. It's not like that was the plan the whole summer. We should have targeted him, had a vision for what was going to do, then bring him in instead of just panicking.
I'm going to be honest. When I see all of this news, I kind of roll my eyes a little bit at it, and it's not because I'm not welcoming of obviously change at the club. And I'm not welcoming of an overhaul of the footballing and sporting department at Manchester United because clearly it's needed. Like, no, don't get me wrong, no problem with that. But it just also feels like to me that this is one big sort of job to try and convince people that aren't happy or try and sort of mediate concerns and fears. And even some of the names that are being brought up, like, again, Paul Mitchell, cool. Like, he's been linked to United a couple of times. He lives in Manchester. And even during the Ralph Rangnick time, he was sitting with Rangnick in the stadium watching reserve games. So clearly United, he's been on United's radar for a while. And he's better than what we've got. I don't have a problem with that. But like the chief executive, former chief executive of PSG and the general manager of Juventus, like Juventus over the last decade, they're actively investigations for corruption. And cooking the books and all that kind of stuff.
And 100 and something, 115 breaches. I'll take some
Yeah, but look at where Juventus are, didn't they? The worst thing is, KG, yeah, they won Serie A for all of those years, but like they did it all to win the Champions League, all that kind of stuff. Where are they now? They're not competing for titles. They didn't win the Champions League in the end, and people are actively, in court over these matters.
Yeah.
In addition to that, so Dave Brailsford's involved. Like, I can't.
I don't even know who that guy is. Who is he?
So I remember saying this in January because basically wherever Jim Ratcliffe goes, he goes. Essentially, who he is, he was the head of British Cycling, which again, look up British Cycling at this point and all the stuff that's going on about that, all of the fines, the monies, the investigations, all that kind of stuff that's in that at the moment. He's also like the head of, I don't know what his title is, like head of sport at Nice. Basically, KG, he's a cycling guy. Like he did well at cycling. He doesn't know anything about football. The Nice fans, one of their biggest frustrations with him is that who is this guy? He is Jim Ratcliffe's friend. He is his mate. And where have we heard that before? Where have we heard that when it comes to Malcolm Glazer? When he took over Manchester United, he had the help and assistance of a prominent banker. Who was that? Ed Woodward. Then he became the CEO, or he rose up the ranks of Manchester United. Richard Arnold is an extension of Ed Woodward. A lot of the people at the club all went to the same university, jobs for friends. So I look at this and I go, well, it's great. You're saying you're going to bring in Paul Mitchell. You're saying you're going to bring in some guy that maybe has a somewhat of a shady past, and you're going to bring in your friend again. Why? Because he did a good job with cycling. And it's cool. Yeah, we're talking about the stadium. I saw that one yesterday. They're investigating or looking at how they can turn Old Trafford into a 90,000-seat stadium. They've been doing that for 3 years anyway. This is what started this whole process, is they went, we need to improve the stadium, either renovate or expand, get in the master planner. And they looked at they got the cost sheet, KG. They went, can't afford that. Can't afford that. Joel Avram, you're going to put your hand in your pocket. Sorry?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah. Hand in the pocket. No, thank you. Let's explore strategic alternatives. 12 months later, they get a guy to come in and go, who's that? That's Sir Jim. What's he getting? 25%. Oh, he's paid good money for it. Good money. I mean, again, yeah, 1.5 billion. And now they're looking into how to do it. And again, they'll get that sheet and they'll go, can't really do it because Old Trafford, there's very limited expansion potential. And they'll get the same things that they got before. So look, I realize that this is where we're going, and like we now do have to look at it and say, well,
they tried to give me hope yesterday.
Oh, did you see him? Did you see him? It's not completely off the table.
It's the hope that kills you, they say. Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, I saw that and I was like, I just want that meeting on Thursday to just go terrible. Things are not ratified. There's like they say 25%, but it just doesn't, you don't really have control. And he's like, I'm not doing this. Because that's a lot of money still. It's a lot of money that he's putting up. Even though it's not like Qatari money, it's still a lot of money. I would love it. There'll be nothing better. Yes, Man United fans will almost like, it'll be kind of muddied almost in a situation that, oh my God, like you had one more thing to do and you couldn't even do that. But I would love to be able to go back to the table with these.
You want Sheikh Jassim to show up like at the end of a wedding, when they're in the church and they swing the doors open. Yeah. If anyone has any objections, I object. Bag of cash. Boom. Puts it on the table. I object. No, but I know that's just false. It's silly to do that, but then the little part of me will always hold on to 5% hope that something happens like that. Because Man United, I thought Maguire was leaving the club. Still here, mate. I thought Phil Jones was going to leave the club. Still here, mate. I thought he's a coach.
So, yeah, I'm just, it's because it's really sad when you get into this whole cycling and the guys that are around Sir Jim. You have to understand, Sir Jim's gonna have his guys. Like that's the unfortunate thing. People want to go in with people that they like and trust in any business. So he'll have his reasons just for being there. Maybe if it's a protective blanket for Sir Jim, he knows why he's bought him in it. My thing is, when you start paying for stuff up at the prices of $1 billion, people are gonna do what they want. You know, like it just goes like that. It's like how you've seen all the changes with formerly known as Twitter, X. Bro, he paid for it. What do you want him to do? The only problem is with football clubs, they have a thing called built-in fans that have been here before your finances showed up. And the main thing is, will Sir Jim do the right thing and respect the fans? That's all we're asking for. We're asking for some level of what's the transparency and
Mm.
and try for us, like really care about us.
But you bring up the Twitter argument with Elon, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think it could be a similar thing when it comes to Sir Jim. Elon, buys Twitter and then a few days in goes, I've massively overpaid, I've made a massive mistake. And then fires, was it 2/3 of the people that work there? And it
Yeah.
might be the same with Sir Jim. A couple of days in, he goes, these Glazers, man.
Oh, bloody hell. He's gonna look, but now he's looked at the books. He's looked at the books, which is good. Remember when they went in that meeting that day? There was that time when everyone came to Carrington and stuff, and he had a look around Carrington, saw the old chef, saw the jacuzzis that Ronaldo was talking about. For tell you what, do you know what really hurt? Charlie Savage said that the facilities at Reading are the same as the ones at United.
Yeah.
I don't know who, like, I don't know where, like, is that bad on us or is Reading really good?
I remember I was watching the other day. I saw a video on social media, and it was Sir Alex talking about the Glazers, and he was being nice about them essentially, and he was talking about the training ground. He said one of our training grounds is it's the best in the UK, the world, or one of the best in Europe. Our training ground, and you go, but then you realize that interview was probably nearly 20 years ago, so maybe it was. Like maybe it was at that point, but things have changed since then. Let's get some super chats here as well. Sandro says 18 months ago, everyone would have taken Sir Jim Ratcliffe's deal with a look for a full takeover. Yeah. Trust me, I was Qatarian, but they played around and didn't pay what the Glazers wanted. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is now our only hope. Believe that. I've seen this argument a lot, KG, of people saying, 18 months ago we would have taken this. So why are we so upset now? And to me, and appreciate the contribution, Sandro, I don't disagree with the fact that, of course, 18 months ago, I mean, as you've pointed out several times, several people were begging for Sir Jim Ratcliffe to put in an offer, even if it was to, a small amount to acquire more later on. But you cannot then just ignore what has happened over the last 12 months because there was an offer. The reason why people are upset is there was an offer for a completely clean slate, not this kind of phased, are they going to buy everyone out eventually? Maybe, we still don't know. There's still lots of questions. And I think that's why people are upset. And look, there might be people that really wanted, I want Qatari money. And there might have been people saying, we to compete with, to City, who are backed by a country, we need to be backed by a country. For me, I can only speak for myself. That was never it for me. My thing was I didn't want the people that currently own the club to own the club anymore. Even if that was Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in, acquiring their 69% plus 5% of the independents, cool. I'd have been happy with that. I could get behind that. But the fact that, the Glazers, they're still in charge, even though Sir Jim Ratcliffe can be, I'm in control of sporting matters. What does that even mean? What does that mean?
It's again, man, I hear what he's saying, but it's that deal or no deal thing, innit? It's like when you take the deal and you realize what you could have won. And we could have won clearing of the debt, a new stadium, signings galore. Like there was so much, and they had the money. It's not like we got to save up. We could, next summer, we move, and now what we've been left with is this terrible plan. But then when you do look at what is being said, though, we have to look at the other side of this thing where he's desperate for this club. Like he's the only one. Like how what do you call it? Like Sheikh Jassim was like, nah, I've done enough now. This guy's like, I know you lot don't want to leave. I have to get my foot in there somewhere. I'm even willing to do this because when he first pulled up, he said 100%. I want 100% of the club, and quickly realized one, he struggled to compete with the Qatari funds, and then he didn't deter him though. So if you have
he only wanted 69. He only wanted the Glazer shares. He never wanted 100%. that's also worth pointing out, because obviously 100% would have included buying out all of the minority shareholders as well. So they only wanted the controlling majority of the club.
But that's still running the club pretty much. 69% is you're doing your thing, right? Like that's not bad, you know. The club he still would have felt like I'm making the correct decisions for this.
Oh yeah,
club.
I could have got behind that, no problem.
You know what I mean? So that's in the end of the day, it's like you have to try and this is why I say that there has to be some cautious optimism, because he can only show us what he means by these actions, you know. And yes, is that guy is next to him. That's to say, I'm not going to be too mad about his cycling friend as long as he's not making the footballing decisions. It is what it is, but he can't.
Be though, KG. He might be.
What's he doing the footballing decision if they said they're bringing in footballing people though? So what are you getting all the footballing guys for then?
It's like imagine you go, because I get it, I agree with you. Look, you're always going to bring in your guys, like, and we can't be naive to think that he wouldn't do that. But it's like imagine you go, right, I'm going to do a comedy festival. I'm going to do a comedy festival, and I'm going to do a stand-up show. And you go, KG, you're gonna headline, obviously, right? You're a stand-up. And you go, who's gonna be the opening act? And you go, it's gonna be Owen.
Yeah.
Who'll go, how much stand-up experience has he got? They go, he's never done it before.
Yeah. But you wouldn't be in there in that kind of capacity, but you'll be there. Yeah, you know I'm saying.
But you know what I mean? People rightfully so be like,
they do 15 minutes, yeah. That's wrong. That's crazy. Like, I'm hurting myself.
But so for me, it's Dave Brailsford. You're going to oversee sport at Manchester United. And he's done F1 as well, by the way. Imagine me out there, microphone.
You would hate it.
I'll have one of those. I'll be like Bernie Mac. I'll have one of those little towels, you know, the whole... dot in the head, get the sweat on the upper lip.
Someone said it just makes my material look even better. No, it won't. I love where the person before me has to be wicked. It just feels like it just sets the tone. Someone
You've
said
you've got the equivalent of Sir Dave Brailsford doing crowd work as people file in. Where are you from then?
I know where you're from then.
This is unacceptable.
What'd you do for a living? Oh, you're a scout. Cool. I don't have any material on that. Move on. You hear the cough.
You're right. You're right.
What was that? Oh, nothing. All right. That's what it's the equivalent of. Let me get to the rest of the super chats as well. Sandra also says, if it's Jassim, it's plans, but if it's Jim, it's PR. Well, I think the thing is with look, I think the reason why some people are looking at as sort of spin when they're saying these sort of plans is because there is a lot of frustration or outrage that the Glazers are still there. And look, they are legitimate plans. You can't argue that they're legitimate plans, but it does feel like a kind of an attempt to calm people down that maybe are unhappy because they go, no, this stuff's still going to happen. Because people have those questions like, what's happening with the stadium? And if they come back going, oh, we're going to invest in the stadium, they'll be like, oh, you know. So that's kind of the purpose of it as well. Amanor says, how does 25% give you control over football operations? That's another one of the questions, saying that, you know, it's kind of somewhat unprecedented. But as they've said, yesterday, The Athletic did report that the way that they think they're going to get that is they want to have Ineos people on the board of directors. So there might be a shake-up on the board of directors as well. Sandra also says, oh, and listen, I'm listening, Sandra. Being a sports person goes into more data analysis, not football matters, like a director of football, LOL. FYI, we don't have a good data analysis department. Look, I think what you're referring to, the Sir Dave Brailsford thing, if he might, I just have reservations about someone having, you know, thinking that things like sports universal, you can just pick things up from cycling and drop it into football. There might be things that overarch. There are good principles and there are, you know, fundamentals, I'm sure, that go across all those things. But I said before, KG, I remember in 2003 or after 2003, and England won the Rugby World Cup. They wanted to get Clive Woodward to manage Southampton. This was a real thing. And rightfully so, everyone at Southampton went, are you taking the piss? He's a rugby coach, yeah. And then obviously it didn't happen. But what did happen? He ended up becoming director of football at Southampton. I think he was gone in like 6 months or something like that.
Because it's
I wonder why.
trash. It's trash. No, don't get
Wonder
me wrong.
why.
I believe in transferable skills. I always feel like there's stuff that you can gain from,
Other sports, absolutely,
yeah,
yeah.
but then don't take the piss. Like it's got there's got to be limits to some of this stuff. Now, I'm hoping that, remember, we got a good manager. Like what the things that need to marry up is you have a good manager and you have something good above him. Now, our manager is able to work on a tighter budget because he's proved so at Ajax, but it needs to be a right system in place in terms of the players coming through or the types of players that we're looking for. If you notice, with Ten Hag, there's a certain type of player that he's looking for. And that's why the other ones, the breakdowns of certain other players, like your Jadens of the world and players that are not going to do the work for him, it's never going to show. His signings, he's bought the people, he's always tried to bring in players that he knows or he's had some level of experience with. Why? Because it's about trust. So now he's because he wants everyone to run for him. He wants everyone to go the extra mile. And what's Man United? The culture at Man United is we haven't gone the extra mile. We haven't. We have players that even some of the higher class ones, they walk at times. They don't show what you call it. They don't show effort. We lose the ball. They're not busting a gut to get back. And he wants that type of player all around him. Hence why you see him working with young players that he gives an opportunity to. And what happens when them young players? They feel the need to pay something back to him. So there's a lot there that can be admired, but then at the same time we have to support this manager with making correct footballing decisions. Because last season we had a good season last season, and that was in spite of the board. When this guy was fighting and trying to do better, all he had was Weghorst and Sabitzer. That's a crime. You know what I mean? You talk about a team that's really trying to push for things and can be good, can be great, yeah, and you're not giving him the tools for success. Now you say, why are you complaining for? Your manager still spent north of 200 million, this, that, and the other. Understood, but you have to remember where we're coming from. If you say you have this level of money, well, why is there only one recognized striker at Man United in Martial and then a defensive guy called Weghorst? And now we look into this new season. Yes, we've got bought in Hoyland, but then a big club, a category A type club, should be in a situation where there should be like 3 to 4 strikers of quality at the club, and there isn't. It's a mess. Then centre backs. Let's not even get into that. So we're not even giving this guy the best tools to be successful at this club. But we have the highest expectation. It's ridiculous. Doesn't matter.
That's why I don't. I'm not against, and I think it's well overdue that there would be a sporting overhaul at United, and that is something that I think every United fan could get behind. Getting people that clearly again are not fit for purpose in their roles. Richard Arnold, John Murtough, get them out, replace them by new people. I think most people would be happy with that. Again, I have reservations about the people coming in, about them, but also it just feels so insignificant talking about the bigger picture when it comes to, again, that the current owners remain. But you speak about Ten Hag there. Like let's say, for instance, the Jadon Sancho situation,
yeah,
and we would go, and when the losses were sort of stacking up a little bit, and we were sort of saying, well, man, maybe some of the United players might look at it and go, hey, how long is this guy going to be here? Maybe Jadon does come back in, blah blah blah. Do you think that with this, Jim Ratcliffe coming in, Ineos overhauling sporting matters at the club, controlling sporting matters at the club, do you think now it leads to some of those players that actually go, you know what? We definitely ain't winning this one. Like, in terms of like, it's the manager's going to be the backed, and it's the manager, and actually things might be changing for us quite a bit too.
Any of those players that are thinking like that need to be removed from the club with immediate effect. I think these players have started worrying about things that have nothing to do with them. Right now, they need to be worried about the job and stop doing these unforced errors. That's what's killed us in the last 3 to 4 games. It's not been ownership. It's the fact that we're a mess on the pitch. Because I don't want to give the players a fair out when it's like, no, mate, you lot have been trash. You haven't given your all, And it's over and over again. We've had the Casemiros, we had the Diogo Dalot, we've had the Onana mistakes, we've had the Rashi mistakes, we've had the lack of commitment. This is what and if they think they should be talking about what's happening at board level, then these are not the players of Man United. The culture's all wrong. What these guys need to be focused on is really lifting up their personal performances and fighting for, fighting for the badge. That's what they should really be on. That's all they should care. Like, next game is Sheffield United. How are we going to turn up? Because we've let the fans down this season. That's all. These guys are all getting paid. It's not like, if they weren't getting their money, let's say the club was in administration, I'd understand, not trying as hard as you usually do. Yeah? It's not that type of situation. You all get paid on time. You're all expected to deliver, to give us something to shout about, because you're the first to say Man United fans are not backed you enough, or we as soon as when we're upset about poor performances, then it's mental health. You know what I mean? No, guys, what are you doing to protect our mental health as we go into weekends? Because I know already, I've already had to prepare myself for, bro, the next couple of weeks could be crazy. We're in a group with Copenhagen. Who is it?
Galatasaray
and Bayern. Yeah. We're bottom. We're minus, what do you call it?
And you've got Sheffield United away at the weekend, that even though it's away, we're expected to win. That could change. So we get the rest of these super chats very quickly. Lil Yo says, if Man United versus Nice happens, it'll be the El Ratico. But I mean, to be honest, we don't even know what's going to happen with Nice, with United too, because we might be playing in the same competition soon as well. So how that's going to work, we don't know. Team Nathan's been a member for 15 months. KG says, guys, I'm fully gutted about Jassim, but if the Rat puts footballing people in footballing positions, do you think it could actually work out? Well, I think, like we've been saying, I think any United fan would welcome people that actually have experience or better in class in the positions than people that are currently at the club. But then if that's mixed in with people that maybe aren't fit for purpose in those positions, it might be a cause for concern. Somi says, Nice are better now. New changes, second in the table. A lot of people have been pointing to that second in the table thing with Nice this season. But I would also point out, I think that I don't think they've lost the season yet, but I would also point out that it's like the 17th of October and it's not the end of the season. Like, we'll wait and see. Spurs, they've had the best start to their season, Premier League season ever this season, but they're 3 points better off than they were at this stage last season. Just only 3 points. And look how they finished last season, right? So I think a lot of people putting stock into that's not to disparage what Nice have done, because they went away to PSG and they won. But I think a lot of people are putting a lot of stock into, they're doing well in the league at the moment. We'll see, basically.
Yeah, but then I think and that's what I talk about, that what do you call it? It's that that optimism as well, cautious optimism. So you can look at that and be okay.
Well, you can, but I think it's people doing bits of both, isn't it? It's people looking to what Nice haven't done over 4 years since they've been in charge and going, look, they've been terrible, blah blah blah. And then you get people going, yeah, but they're second at the moment, they're doing really well. But I mean, anything this season is a very small sample size to latch onto, because we say the same about people in the Premier League, don't we? Spurs fans, they're getting gas. They're going, oh, I'll tell you what, it's different under Ange. And what do we say? They go, mate, it's October. What are you getting all excited about? End of the season. Talk to me at the end of the season. So why wouldn't we do the same when it comes to Nice in Liga?
I need a presser from Sir Jim.
And let's get the rest of these super chats and we'll say what you could say in that. Victor says, the stadium can only happen if they take on debt, unless United issues new shares that Sir Jim buys, and that way the money goes into the club instead of the Glazers. Nathan's been a member for 9 months, says, as much as, yes, the squad needs investment, we have no discernible style of play. We should be identifiable by now, and that is worrying. And It's Just Danny says, is it not just 12.5% Class A shares, 12.5% of Class B shares? I'm not too sure what the breakdown of what exactly he's buying. He's buying it obviously from both, as you point out, the Glazers and minority shareholders, but we don't know. We don't know.
Gives him power to seat at the table. Then that's what gives him board directing powers. Then
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
What else are people saying in the chat here? Manu says, yeah, Owen, but Nice never been a big club. Brian says, why is Owen so down on Jim? It looks like he had a bet on Qatar. Didn't have a bet on anyone, I can say. My thing is, as I've always said,
you do seem like
the reason I'm down is because we went through this whole process and it's like the Glazers are still here. And I just, as I've said before, if there is If there is a roadmap, an achievable roadmap to the Glazers not being in charge, I can get behind that. I could, when it came to the whole process in the first place, when it was even Jim 69%, I didn't care. Like, as long as they're not here, I just have my reservations and my doubts about that. And I just, when I see them talking about things that, don't get me wrong, need addressing, overhauling of the sporting department, absolutely. Overhauling of football operations at the club, absolutely. New stadium, I can get behind all of it. But whilst they're still involved, it's just like a pit in my stomach. There's a pit, and I realize that it's me moaning for the sake of moaning because I can't change anything. I can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? And I guess we do have to get on with it. It's going to be ratified on Thursday, but it's just that's the feeling that I have, and it's not even like, oh, you really wanted Qatari money and blah blah blah. It's like, no, I just didn't want them here anymore. That's it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Of course I would have. Why wouldn't I want Qatari money? Of course I did.
Because it wasn't even about that for me. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter, anything like that.
Money. If you had money to change Man United's situation, because we're going, embarrassment to you. You're twerking for the big cash, bro. I want to compete. The clubs that are doing well have big cash. They can do what they want in the transfer market. You look at Newcastle right now. Newcastle are competing, and they just got started. Are you telling me you wouldn't want that? You're lying. You know what I mean? I've just watched, like, we're looking at teams like Man City. They're in full control of the Premier League, talking about winning it a record time. They've done the treble. How could you look at that and say, I don't want that, I need to keep it pure? No, bro, I want that. So yes, I wanted that Qatari money. Now the Qatari money's off the table. Why? Because you've got two waste men. Like, the Glazers have killed us. But what we're truly learning about the situation, if those A-class shares are for sale, well, it was how they said. There was some Glazers that wanted to get rid, and those others that weren't going anywhere at this present moment. And that's what you got. Was it Malcolm and who's the other one? Malcolm and Avram? They're
Joel and Avram.
Joel and Avram. They're chilling. They're not going anywhere.
They've got it. I mean, they have literally. They are absolutely laughing at the moment. They've just got 1.5 billion quid. Give up some of their shares. They still got majority control, even though that Sir Jim was going to be involved in sporting matters. They'll still have majority voting power. They'll still have majority control of the club. And let's face it, they've got a bit of a shield now too. If it works, if it goes well, and we start being successful on the pitch, they'll be like, look at us. We were right. And they can reap the rewards of that as well. Dividends are back, baby. We can get all that going again. And we're winning stuff. We can get more trips to Wembley in the private jet, put that on the club credit card. Superb. And then if it doesn't work out, it's not our fault. We don't make those calls anymore. It's them. Get angry at them. Don't get angry at us. We sold some part of it. You know what I mean? So they've got that shield. That's why, just for me, and eventually I'll come round, because I think everyone will come round, but I can't sit here, like, when was it? Saturday it came out. I can't sit here like 72 hours ago. I can't believe the Glazers are staying. This is bullshit. This is rubbish. And then 3 days later, them going, well, it's new stadium. And going, there's room for positivity. There's room for positivity. That's a sharp turnaround. Very, very quickly.
And that's the personality trait, isn't it? Because it's like everyone wanted to give Marcel the spine buster, but he just has that thingy where he's like, all right, cool, let's go.
He said it from the start. In fairness, he said it from the start, where he said, look, eventually, and it's not what people want to hear right now, like me, but it's true, that you're going to have to just sort of swallow your pride and be like, look, it's happening, and we've just got to hope that it works out.
It took me a new Monday, to be honest. I was like, okay, let's go. I woke up on that Monday morning. I was like, well, what can we do? This football thing can't kill us, yeah? We're fans, like, this football thing, like, every now and then I try to tell myself, try to correct myself and be like, we've gone too far, man. This thing, like, bro, you know what result on the weekend can really affect my weekend? Like, it can affect the whole of it. Man United playing well can affect my whole weekend. But then Man United have been consistently dead, for almost 4 to 5 years. So why am I putting so much, not like, I can't put my emotional thingy in that, because it's not stable. That's more shame on me than shame on, what do you call it? Man United so far have shown me who they are. I love the club, but I need to understand this club does mad things week in, week out. Yeah. If I put my emotional stability in them, I'm the crackhead. So now all we're doing is we're learning how to do this thing correctly. Look at the club. We go into this line. I could be getting so mad about the Glazers right now. I have no power. And I know when people are saying, you didn't have power. I'm like, okay, guys, this is beyond us. We're talking about a boardroom level where billions are being spent. They're not talking to us. The only way they can really talk to us is if we all say, not merch, because they're gonna say, don't buy the shop club merch. No, no, no. Let's get deeper than that. It's beyond merch. It's no season ticket. It's no one in the grounds. It's to that level. It's to the extent of no one's paying for the, when you want the Sky and that thing's all that, what you call it's coming out. No one's paying for that. Really damaging the pockets, because guess what? They've already got their merch money. They've signed a 7-year deal with with Adidas and all these other stuff. It doesn't affect them. All it does really affect is Man United in terms of when it comes to doing the transfers, because you've heard recently we haven't made enough money on so and so on whatever they're saying, and now it's affected our financial fair play. Obviously with signings as well, we don't sell players on this, that, and the other. But then it's a boardroom level situation. So what do you want me to come and do?
Well, no, I totally agree. I totally agree in the sense of, like we said, like it's going to happen Thursday. Like that's just it's gonna be done, But I do think there's an allowance to be angry as well. But like I said, it comes down to personalities, isn't it? Some people will look at it and go, "It is what it is." Some people will look at it as, I've got my voice. I can share my thoughts. I can share my opinions.
Absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's just understanding, because my biggest frustration has been people that have tried to blame the Man United fans for this. You can't blame us. You cannot blame Man United fans for what's happened at the club, because it's bigger than you. All those people at Twitter who are really upset, kicking and screaming. Well, they're not at Twitter anymore. They were upset, fired. You know what happened to them? Because guess what? The money man pulled up and he said, this is mine now, and I'll do it as I will. And the Glazers are pulled up and bought the club off, put us into debt, which never should have been allowed to happen, but they did. Yeah, there's no government backing it or stopping it. They've run this thing. They've done with this club how they want to, because they're in control.
And look, when it comes to the Glazers too, and this is something that people don't want to hear as well, but one thing you cannot argue about the Glazers is that they are very, very, very shrewd businessmen, because either way in this takeover process, they were, like I said, laughing. If they accepted Sheikh Jassim's proposal, they'd have again, it was never their money in the first place that they bought Man United with. They put the debt on the club. They could have sold it for 6 billion quid, whatever it may be. And that would have been, again, world record numbers. It'd have been one of the biggest business deals ever. Even with the Ineos thing, first of all, initially, they're getting 1.5 billion for 25%, massively overpriced. And if there is a roadmap to which they're going to sell the club, which, again, we don't know what that looks like at the moment. But if there is, chances are it'll be minimum that sort of over £6 billion figure, probably more if it's going to be in the future. So again, they'd be raking a record amount of money on something that they didn't even, first of all, it was inherited, but two, it was
200,000. And
and they turn it around. So, and that's when I get back to about, give this a chance, blah, blah, blah. If legitimately, and I don't know how this would come out because it's probably confidential, so it'd have to be like reported or something like that. But if it did come out and they said, look, by 2026, this is the date we think we're going to get to this buyout. We've got clauses in place. We've got negotiation points in place. And again, I think then maybe you can go, at least there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's where the sort of maybe frustration comes from, is because they felt like there was a light at one point and now that light feels really dim. But as long as it's there, I guess there's hope. Now, one thing I have seen just in the last few minutes is the Times saying that Ratcliffe hopes that he's going to be in a position of control and power to really impact the January transfer window. Wow. How many people do you think are going to be looking at that as like one of the first signs of, okay,
but can
what do these guys mean?
Financial fair play issue?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they did say, didn't they, if a takeover would have happened in the summer, how much extra million did they say could have been added into the transfer budget? It was like 50 or something like that. So potentially, look, if you got, and it's not even necessarily just.
Listen, bro,
we don't always think of we always think of incomings when we go to transfers. If we had a January transfer window where we sold, or at least looked like the exit of Jadon Sancho, Harry Maguire, you know.
Loan.
But even if they got rid of a couple of them, you
Oh
know,
God, I'm just helping you out. Loan. Sorry, I don't want to burst the bubble. I hate to do this, but you know they're getting on loan. There's no one that's going to put in a bid.
But even if they said, but even this is about going back to people that are fit at doing the jobs they're meant to be doing. If they said Harry Maguire, Jadon Sancho, they're going out on loan, but obligation, mandatory, a deal's been agreed for the summer.
I like
something like that. Something that, again, fans could get behind and they go, that's a good deal for United. They've done a good job there. If they sold those players in January and we got in some people, even that would people look at going, I tell you what, we had FFP issues, but we found a way, you know, like some other clubs find a way.
Sorry, not now I feel like the party people. We're not going to get rid of Harry Maguire.
Why are you being so negative, KG?
In Jan, we're not, because I just know we have to remember personality traits or how the managers moved in the past in certain decisions. You know, there was players that wanted to leave on loan last season that weren't in the squad, weren't being used.
Yeah, but it might not be past, KG. There might be different. This is what I'm saying. There might be different people in those positions by that point. And this is why I say come January, maybe it's the first glimpse into that. If you've got a Paul Mitchell in there and he's like, you know, those guys couldn't get rid of him in the summer, I'll get rid of him. I'll find a way. They've got Todibo at Nice. We've already got the in. Get Todibo in.
I would love it, but I just know that with the manager, he's still going to be himself. So he's not going to put himself this season. He's learned that I've got rid of a lot of players, a lot of youngsters, and I have no wing backs. I don't have left backs and right backs spare. Yeah. So is he going to go into January where he's already had some centre back issues and get rid of a centre back? No. Of course he's not.
That's what I'm saying. What if it's like for like, though? What if they say, a bit like in the summer, they're like, we need to get Maguire out to bring in. I mean, they thought it was going to be Pavard. They thought it was going to be Todibo. What I'm saying is, January, if these people are in place, if Jim Ratcliffe's in place, if Paul Mitchell's in place, if this new chief executive's in place, and they realize, right, we can't do as much as we want to do, FFP, plus it's a January transfer window, but we need to make some form of a statement, because like they've been doing in the last few days, putting these stories out there saying, you know, stadium, training ground, blah, blah, blah. We realize that if we have a non-existent January transfer window, people will be looking going, hey, what you guys doing? Like, are you going to do anything for us? Are you going to make a bit of an impact? It'd be an impact for them to get rid of a couple of players and bring in a couple of players and say, hey, this is the way we're operating now. You can't go, well, in the past that hasn't happened because that was a different regime, right? That was when the Glazers had control over sporting matters.
I like it, but I know people are still cussing, saying that we should never have got rid of the young kid. What's that Alvaro? What's that kid that was playing left back in the situation?
Fernandez.
Yeah, and then there's the other one that plays the right back. It was like, why did we get rid of those kids? So I could only imagine that. Let's say we bring in Todibo, but Todibo has a situation with Man United where he gets injured and we're like, we shouldn't have sold, because we always go back to we shouldn't have sold this person. I remember when fans were saying we shouldn't have got rid of Ethan Laird. I've never seen Ethan Laird play a single game for us, but all of a sudden everyone's on we should have held on to him. What? So even with the manager, what he's getting through this season, I think he'll just be, this is just my take. I could be wrong, but I think with how many injuries he's had, he'd be reluctant to get rid of a first teamer. Now in the summer market, I could see him being really open to it. But to get rid of that in the time that you need it, dangerous.
Do you not think that Eric would ask that? First few meetings with Jim Ratcliffe, with Paul Mitchell, Dave Brailsford, do you not think he would go, what are we doing in January then? Yeah, that's all of this is sorted. What are we doing in January?
I'd ask to, all I'd ask for is, if I'm him, I'd ask for, can I bring in players without having to sell? Like, can I do that? What's the appetite for that? Because now I'm in a stronger position. If he can bring in two players, two centre backs, then I understand the thing of sending a player out on loan. But if it's buy one to just on the replacement settings, it's not enough.
But that might be them going, look, we are hamstrung by the sins of the past. We are hamstrung by, look, this is just the situation, the way that it is. FFP is a thing. Other clubs that are well run, they have to deal with FFP. Manchester United can't effectively deal with FFP because we can't sell anyone. Look at Chelsea in the summer, right? And I'm not saying Chelsea's a great example for transfer business, but They clearly were in a problem when it came to FFP with the amount of money they spent. What did they do? Sold a ton of players and did it effectively. And we were saying in the summer, why can't United do that? Why can't United go to the Saudi League and have half of our players? So if that would be almost a bigger indication for me, honestly, of effectiveness in that role. It's not only, again, buying players, but actually selling players. Those players that we struggled to sell in the past, can we get rid of them? And if they could get rid of them, again, that's how you then bring the players in.
I love it. I'd honestly, I'd be here for it. You know, I remember someone telling me that one of the best player sales we've ever done at this club is Dan James, you know, which is insane, you know. Yeah. So I would love it. I'm just gonna, that part I'm just cautious about because we haven't seen it. Like, I know, let's say McTominay now, would you say his value's gone up? McTominay's value?
Because goals against Brentford, or more the international stuff in general?
International stuff. He's been kind of, you could rely on him. He's kind of, I don't know what's happening, but would you say that his value's like 35? It's gone up to that 35, 40, or nah?
Well, it was high. It was always that high in the summer, wasn't it? I think United were looking for like 40, 45 for him in the summer, because you have to remember, again, he's homegrown. So it counts as pure profit from an FFP point of view. So he would be a player that if you got a good offer in January, you go, that really helps us. Not just in terms of the money anyway, but from a pure profit, that really helps us. So again, if you knew people in the role, you'd look at him as a player and go, look, actually, that's the one.
That's a good sell. And then also, because he's not got the mad contract in terms of how much his salary, it would make a lot of sense. Another club will be more willing to pick that one up. But when you're seeing with the likes of Sancho, I know we're talking about Sancho leaving, and that's why I said it could be a loan situation, because Sancho's one of the highest paid players at the club. So for a team to come in and buy him, they have to sort out that contract pretty much, or we have to pay him off. We couldn't even pay off Maguire. So now you're looking at Jadon Sancho that should probably go for something like 65 to 70 million, who now ends up leaving on a 30. Like that, because for a team to pick up that, they have to do something like that. That's insane. You know, and that's why now I think with the complexity of that, not being negative, but I'm just knowing how this club operates. And then the only reason why I thought he could keep Maguire is because he's using him and he wants tried and tested. Even if he's not what we rate. I don't rate Maguire at all. But I'm just thinking, I'm just trying to put my head in the thoughts of the manager, basically.
Yeah. I think that he's using him because he's there. I think that if he had the option, you can use Maguire or you can use Todibo, he'd be like, you know, I'll bring him in. You know, so I think that, again, I think January is going to be a really interesting time for these new people in their roles, because, again, it's not going to be a complete overhaul or anything like that, because it's January. I mean, you're only going to do a couple of purchases. But look, actually, you say that. Look at the way Chelsea operated last January. They moved crazy last January. And again, I'm not saying United will, because, again, we are way more hamstrung from an FFP point of view. But it's the idea you can't do anything in January is not true. I mean, particularly when throughout our history, we've signed some pretty impressive players in January. Let's get to these super chats here. Ray says, everyone on Nice, but let's not forget, Nice is a small club that's not nothing for since the 50s, and Sir Jim not coming to get money. Let's see what Jim wants to bring. Victor says, my business hat on. This is great business from the Glazers. They managed to solidify passive income and now are going to pass on day-to-day operations to someone else who can take the blame. Ed says AM9/Sant swap deals for Todibo Thuram in January. There might be some swap deals. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be that crazy.
Oh, no, that kind of stuff is good.
Yeah,
give someone
and Red Devils Down Under's latest member of the EV Members Club. One of the Reckless Delegates, I believe, KG. Yeah. And speaking of the Reckless Delegates, what a segue this is, KG. I believe also you're going to be live just after 10.
I'm going to be live. Reckless Breakfast.
Reckless Breakfast. And also, this is a bit of a new feature this morning. For those that sometimes, you know, you're finished watching this show and then you just forget and you're going to something else, you don't have to go anywhere this morning. Once this stream ends, you'll just go straight to KG's stream. He'll be ready and on time. I mean, that's the hope, you know. KG's going to be agile. He's going to be ready. He's got the Boy Kev shirt on today, you know.
And if you don't want any positivity, I wouldn't show up. because I've got people calling in saying that we can finish in the top 4. I know it's a different platform, bro. Listen, it's my community. They speak how they want to speak, and I love them for it.
What else are people saying here in the chat? We've got a super chat here. It says, my mate is living in Manchester, got ridiculed / abused by local fans for wanting Full Sail, got told to support someone else. I'm getting to that point myself. I'll support you guys, but moving on. No longer be a United fan, apparently.
I hate that. That's just shit.
I've seen people saying that the last few days. I'm done being a Man United fan. To me, I'm like, well, I've got no choice, irrespective of it being, completely shit. Even if it was like, we've gone into administration, Wimbledon settings, we've got to start in the lowest tier of football. I'm like, cool. Well, not cool, but I'm like, it's not going to change. I'm not going to suddenly, change I'm going to change my shirt.
It's a terrible, bro. This is a terrible relationship. All I'm telling people is to do things to protect yourself. Prepare yourself for the weekend. We could get 3 points. We might not. You know what I mean? Like, and that's it. Like, because, bro, look at the games. We went do or die. Who was the last team we played recently?
Brentford.
Brentford. We were seconds away from humiliation. Yeah? Scott McTominay watched the Beckham documentary and he felt inspired. And the rest is history. You're still scary, though.
Very scary. And also, that is something that I think we've kind of forgotten about because it's been like 2 weeks. But like, we're playing Sheffield United away at the weekend. With all of this takeover stuff and the way we've been, and actually just the way we've been playing recently, that ain't a given. You know what I mean? That is not a given. Like, we've kind of forgot, like, it's cool, we're playing Sheffield United away. And it's like, guys, like, have you seen us play this season? Like, it's, again,
we're going to get it right, though. No, I honestly feel we're going to get it right. We're turning the corner. We are. We're going to turn the corner, bro.
Look, we've got two games that we have to win, which is Sheffield United away, Copenhagen in the Champions League.
And imagine the vibe and the energy if we get through these 2 games. Let's say we beat City. That's the one. That's the game right there. Let's say we're ready for that game. You got Amrabizi in the midfield, yeah? You got, who else is playing in that game? Is Casemiro back? Hopefully he's back.
Well, also, but even that, like Casemiro at the moment, that's a conversation.
He's going to pull it. Listen, these guys are going to level up. These guys, Casemiro, they say, what do you call it? Class. What do you call it? What's that thing? Class is permanent or something like that.
Form is temporary, class is permanent.
There you go. Class is permanent. That guy will find his form. These guys, this talking about big Casemiro, no, big game Miro. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, these guys have to, all we have to do is cut the mistakes that we're doing to ourselves. It's not even what you call it. We're losing games purely from our own foolishness. We are. Like, it's bad. But now you're putting players back in their proper positions because they should play where they're meant to play, where they were designed to play in life. Yeah? Put in this, bro, come on, man.
No, this is what I say, like, because of everything that's happened in the last few days, like, even some of the on-pitch stuff feels so insignificant because, like, I've even forgotten about the discussion of, Rashford, should he be starting or not? You know what I mean? And, like, he'll start at the weekend against Sheffield United, and then maybe, like, 30 minutes into that match, he might be going again, going, oh, yeah, I forgot about this. I forgot about that.
You just had an international break. That's what you've been in. You've been in international break mode. Nah, I feel like the manager has a plan. The manager knows what he wants. He already knows he's had loads of injuries. He said he hasn't even found his first 11 yet. He says, by now I should know what my first 11 is.
Yeah.
So, hey.
Final super chat, then we'll wrap it up here. Red Baron says, I blame KG for Glazers. It's all your fault, KG, apparently.
Apologies, man.
I mean, we don't like to bring up the fact that you negotiated that deal with the Glazers back in sort of 2005, do we? You know. And I believe at the time you were in your late 50s, which is quite surprising.
No, this is it. I just look so young, you know.
And Ed says we've got a Cameroonian boy Kevin goal. There's a disservice to KG. Anyway, guys, smash a like on the like button, by the way. I haven't even got 200 likes. We've had over 1,400 people, 1,500 people watching. So you haven't already.
It's an absolute grace.
Click the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Remember, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere because...
Don't go anywhere.
Yes, because once this stream ends, you'll be redirected straight to KG's. We're out of it. Have a good Tuesday. We'll speak to you again soon. Peace.